asking me to explain this tattoo right here on my neck and chest. Yod He Shin Vav He. It's called the pentagrammaton, not to be confused with the tetragrammaton, which is the 4-letter word of God, Yod He Vav He. The penta is the 5-letter word of God, Yahweh Ha Shai. The shin is added. It's this symbol. And it comes from ancient Phoenician. Tetragrammaton is earth, water, air, fire. You have the earth at the bottom, water on top of the earth, air on top of the water, and fire on top of the air, and the luminiferous ether is above. But actually, ether is what everything is made of. The inner volume of every atom is pure ether. So that's the stillness. This is crest or Christ or rest. It's where everything comes from, where all movement comes from and returns to. So we have earth, water, air, fire, spirit, shin or shine. So that's the goal, is why Jesus becomes one with his Father.
Now, this is Chief Ironbush speaking. Greetings to the beloved and glad tidings across the world. I want to add to that one part. I might have to replay it real quick. Hold on. I'm not the best at these things.
Fire, spirit, shin or shine. So
okay,
that's
so you see the shin or shine symbol? That's the crown that they speak of, that you get the crown, you know, the King of Kings and this and that. Well, in Scripture, Christ never once said that he was a king, and he never once said that his Father was a king. So find me that Scripture for all you Biblicans out there and post it in the comments. You can't find it because it doesn't exist. Not once did Christ call himself the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, and he never called his Father a king either. Not one time. Which is the complete opposite of the being in the Old Testament, Yahweh, Jehovah, who's a jealous God who wants everybody to bow, or Baraka. Baraka comes from the soul word. Just like if my name is Ron, or Ronald, it has a soul etymological soul word, an origin word, okay? That would be Ron. Same way Baraka has an origin word called Barak, now, which actually meant the extremes of both ends. It could even mean a curse. So be careful the way you're using these words and these new languages that you're learning. That you really don't have too much comprehension of. The people that were incarnated over there don't and have families that have been living. When I say over there, I mean in the area where this supposedly originated from. They don't even know the truth. So what makes you think that you're gonna know? Now the people at the top is just like a pyramid. They know. And the ones that are sent for this purpose know. All right. Now, if you're coming across this, it's time for you to know. It ain't just about the word Baraka. It's all the words. You think word lesser magic just started with English? Words are lesser magic. All of them. All of them. Every word spoken down here is a form of magic, because it's supposed to be magic for you. You're supposed to be manifesting what you're saying. That's the faith of a mustard seed that starts in your mind as a spark in a neuron, and then you're supposed to speak it and follow that speaking up with action. Faith without works is dead. That means that mustard seed and you speaking it, it can all still die without you putting it in the dirt and putting water on it. It doesn't even matter. You can speak it into existence. You got the seed. You're looking at it. You don't follow through with it. Faith without works is dead. Now here is the crown of Christ. Right here. It's also the flame, the fire. It also stands for that as well. Okay? Now this came, I'm going to let this video ride and I'm going to do some further explanation.
Or shine. So that's the goal, is why Jesus becomes one with his Father. This is God, Yahweh. This is God's salvation, Yahweh HaShai.
Now, Yahweh, Yod He Vav He, has so many different meanings. It's endless. Alright? The beginning of understanding of Yahweh begins with fear. Fire, earth, air, rivers of living water. What's rivers of living water? That's plasma. That's what plasma is. It's living water because it's alive and it moves as if it has free will. It's a higher form of lightning. Okay, that's what they're talking about. And it actually makes the during the plasma event, it makes a big X right around what we call the magnetic North Pole. X marks the spot, and it's going to start all over, and there's going to be an X right there. Okay, this happened 24,000 years ago. That was the map for 12,000 years, and then it was changed approximately 12,000 years ago with the flood, and now we're coming back to it. The reason they say it's a new heaven and new earth is because things are going to be aligned different. You're going to see from different angles. It's going to be on what NASA will tell you, a different axis. Okay? We're no longer going to be getting the light of the sun disk. It's going to be at an angle where the sky is illuminated at all times. So Yod He Vav He can stand for earth, water, gas, fire. This is also hidden esoterically in the teachings of Christ. You must be born of water, or into the earth. So you're born into the world, or you're in the world, not of the world. That means you're in earth, but you're not of the earth. You're not. This is not it. You're not just made of the earth compounds, and that's all you're ever gonna be. That's the animal skins. That's the matter. Okay, and I'm gonna get into this more on a better teaching. I'm sitting in the car right now, just doing a voiceover on this. Okay, so Yahweh is the incomplete. It's the elements. The broad spectrum of the elements that you have access to, that what are you going to do with it? So it's the access to what the powers of what we call God is. It's not the actual God who's up there giving orders to you and telling you what to do. It's the access to these powers. All right, fire, earth, air, water. Okay, or rivers, the fear. All right, it's access to that. Now, what are you going to do? Are you going to ultimately shine with it? Like this young incarnation, young man, but you can feel that he's an old soul, is teaching. Now, let's keep listening.
God's salvation. In the Bible, of course, God says, I am that I am, because look at God is I am that I am. That's where it comes from. Yahweh just means hand, behold, nail, behold, or he who exists, who causes to exist, secure, and watches.
Now, that right there did not come until way later. That translation or transliteration of the hieroglyphs, that came way later, and that's to be disputed. That everything he just said has to be disputed. And actually, there's alchemy in what he just said that he may or may not be aware of, but I highly doubted the way that he just said that. I have a teaching showing you the alchemy of the very first word of the Bible, Bereshith, and how it tells the entire journey of your soul from front to back, and it tells the entire creation, the way everything was made. It tells the real creation, not the version they gave you. Okay, and who Saturn is, and this and that, and where Saturn is in like the heavenly realm, and what its purpose is. When I say Saturn, I mean God and the devil of this realm. many names. L, anything with L in it. All the Yahs. You might mean just saying God because you're tired of saying God, which means Gad, which this goes back to that. But guess what? I hate to tell you, the story of the word Yah got the same kind of background. So, I've always been like this my whole life. I always dig deep within myself. And I only use the term origin of eternal light and life. The origin of your eternal soul. That's all I want to be connected to. I don't want to be connected to creators, creatures, craters, raptors, raptures, none of that. Yah the Bayoffs, Yah and El both. I don't want to be connected to none of that. And only the one true Christ, not Christianity, not what they've been teaching you to idolize one man up on a cross. And if you're wearing a cross, you need to rip that satanic thing right off your neck. Especially if you got Jesus, the avatar Jesus. You're murdering a human being if you're wearing a cross. Now, some of us 30 years ago got crosses tattooed on us. Okay, well, if your knowledge is exceeding and abundant, then you'll know that cross is much older than Christ. But if you got it connected to Christ, that's satanic. And you can say, oh, well, that was the victory was won. No, it was not. The victory was won the moment that that the Christ consciousness, the Christ light existed here, which had existed here before he even got here. A being had to come here and show you how to do it perfectly, so it'll be stored in what we call the Akashic records. How they say there's nothing new under the sun, that means it's accessible. Once it's done, it's accessible. That means it got so bad, nobody was doing it, that the true origin of eternal light and life had to intervene and send that and literally incarnate a being that already knew the deal. He made sure that this being did not lose his or her memory, none of that. It knew why and everything. It would be like you having a pep talk with the origin of eternal light and life right before you come down here, and you don't forget nothing. You remember it as a baby. You remember it the whole time. Your destiny, the whole entire time. That's what that was. It wasn't about getting slaughtered on the cross and this and that. But there was only 3 people there. 3 people was at that cross when if you believe that really happened. But 5,000 was getting fed by loaves of bread and this and that, though. Come on now. And that's all esoteric messages. All of that is esoteric messages about defeating your lower self, your carnal self. Same way when he was out in the desert for 40 days and all of that. Okay, but let's go ahead and let this keep rocking for a second.
This is God, he who exists and causes to exist. This is Jesus, he who exists, causes to exist, secures and watches. It's the full form. It's like Goku becoming Super Saiyan. You got to come to the heart chakra here.
I agree with that.
The feminine elements are below, earth and water. The masculine are above. So that's when it says in the Bible, the sons of God mingled with the daughters of men and create the Anunnaki. Well, that's Anu is heaven and Ki is earth. Anunnaki is you with your soul. It's not just matter, the elements. It's adding that spirit. People have been asking me to explain this tattoo right here on my neck and chest. Yod He Shin Vav He.
I like that Anunnaki, the way he broke the Anunnaki down. Listen.
Goku becoming Super Saiyan. You got to come to the heart chakra here.
That's true. I've been telling you guys the whole time, you don't matter about no third eye, first eye, none of that. If your heart chakra's not in balance, that's what it's all about. It's like a seesaw. Yeah, you have fun and you use all the part that goes up and the part that goes down, but that thing in the middle, that's in the middle that allows the seesaw to go up and down, that's the most important part of that seesaw. It's the middle. It's the balance point. It's the fourth. It's the fourth of the 7. There's 3 below, 3 above.
feminine elements are below, earth and water. The masculine are above.
So the feminine elements in the physical realm are below, but in the spiritual realm they are above, because that's a whole nother teaching. It's the 90% rule. This whole existence is made of 10% which tangible and 90% what you can't see or access, what they're calling black matter. The right brain or feminine energy is black matter. Okay? It's the womb of existence. The 10% you can see is the first fruits. That's Christ. That's the incarnation when the Word became flesh. That's the 10%. That's the tithe. Okay? That's the 10th, the tithe. A Y chromosome holds 90%, or a X chromosome holds 90% more data than a Y chromosome. So a Y chromosome only holds 10% of the X. Meaning the Y chromosome is the tithe. The man is the tithe. Christ was the tithe. Do you get it? In the material realm, you're the tithe. Are you going to sacrifice all this living, this material realm, so you can access the 90 part that you can't see, which is faith, which has now turned into just a word that means believing, where the word believe has the word lie in it. We're talking about knowing. Back then, faith meant knowing. Okay, so that's what we're talking about. We're talking about, when I say faith, I'm talking about the ancient term of faith, which meant knowing, not believing in hoping. And ain't nothing wrong with hoping, but you got to know some things. So the 90% is the X chromosome, okay? Also is the 90% of what you cannot see, and if you want to call it the you and I verse, where you and I verse together in numerous frequencies. Okay, the atonement is the A tone, the alpha tone of the mind. All right, that's what this all boils down to. Can you bring it all back to Christ? Can you be born of the water and the fire? The fire, like he just said, Anu and all that is up, and the great mother and all that is down. This is why even in Jacob, the story of Jacob and Esau and all that is a multifaceted story. And most people got the most ignorant. It's like a sponge of a wealth of wisdom, and they squeezed out the most ignorant, dirtiest water they could of it, and made it into a bloodline and a hairy man and the white man and this and that. That's ignorance. Come on, I know that there's cells inside of you in a brain and access to the universal mind. Because you're out here just like anybody else, that means you, more than likely, you have a soul. So you can connect, but you got to move all that prideful and arrogance and it's energy, but you're coming from the wrong pole. You're creating energy that moves on as negative energy. You want to create energy that moves on and creates positivity. Because when you create energy that is negative, that means the next person that receives that energy has the task of stopping it with them. And that is a sacrifice. That's what Christ, that's what the whole story of Christ is. He took all the negative energy from everybody and stopped it with him. That's what turn the cheek means. Not only is turn the cheek alchemy, the first smack was, and without retaliating, that's receiving it and stopping it with you. When you turn the other cheek, you have now performed Christic alchemy, where you have changed the negative energy. You not only stopped it with you, you turn the cheek, and when they smack the other cheek, you send positive energy back to them. That's how you fight this war. That is how you fight this war. It's not carnal mindedness. And it's not curling up in a ball. Okay? And it's not all passiveness. It's meekness. Meek is not passive and weak. Stop thinking meek is weak. Alright.
When it says in the Bible, the sons of God mingled with the daughters of men and create the Anunnaki. Well, that's Anu is heaven and Ki is earth. Anunnaki is you with your soul. It's not just matter, the elements. It's adding that spirit.
Okay. Now, with that being said, now you saw when he was trying to show the pictures where I said that came much later, where he was breaking down the meanings. All that. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, guys, bear with me. I'm all new to this. I'll get better as I go with this right here, where it says hand behold, nail behold, teeth. Kinda some of them, but not really. Like, that's not where it originally came from. Where it originally came from is this right here. It comes from the event, the beginning, it comes from the end event and the creation event. That's what it comes from. So people call that God, and people call it the devil, depending on what side. If you're an elite, you're gonna call it the devil because you've been living heaven on earth, and it's coming to take down all your 33 mansions, all your money, all the people that been cooking for you, doing your haircut every day. You got your feet up, you get a massage every day, you go to the spa, ain't gotta worry about nothing. Your whole family taken care of. Oh yeah, that would be the devil coming for you. But those that's at the bottom right now, that's struggling every day. People thinking about suicide and this and that, and just and depression and anxiety, and don't know what to do, which way is up. And it ain't just been recently; it's been their whole life. To them, that's the return of God, wiping everything out. So this is how the names of God across the world got started, and all of these symbols right here, because depending where you're at and what part of the event you're in, you're gonna see different things. Here's the seven menorahs, the seven trumpets, and then 7 bowls. You got the 2 witnesses right there, because the reason of the 2 witnesses, if you read about the 2 witnesses, these 2 balls right here is also part of this toroid field. They come and go, they disappear. And when they disappear and all the destruction ceases for a minute, the whole world has a celebration, the evil ones, because they think they made it. They even start coming out of their bunkers. But these 2 right here, the 2 witnesses return, and destruction keeps going. They're resurrected. Okay? They're resurrected. Basically. Read it. Read what it says. You're looking at it as if it's people. It's not. This is the 2 witnesses right under what's happening. Okay? And that's why you see how they made it into a man right there. There's a tree. What's that? That's plasma, but that's the tree of life. Okay, being guarded by a sword, a plasma sword. It's plasma. That's what it's all about. Now, all of these symbols have come from that. All of it. Okay? Everything. To the Greeks, to everything. This right here is the most ancient one we have. The reason they got the whole story about the cherubs surrounding the throne of God, this and that, because the closer you get to the open of the dome, they say that's the closer it is to God. So whatever they saw closest to that hole, they assumed was the most powerful beings and was the closest things to God. They used to be called sprites. Then they was called spirits. Okay? It's these little things that you see right here. Okay? And it, like I said, depending where you're at is depending on how you're going to see it. That's Samson pushing down the story of Samson. Same thing. Another apocalypse situation. Or they're telling you again to remind you. Samson on Mount Meru, a squatter man protecting the righteous and bringing destruction on the kingdom of the elites. Pushing down the 2 pillars. Pushing down Joachim and Boaz. Cain and Abel. Abiel and Cain. Okay? That's Samson. Pushing down. It's all the same thing. Here's the fire flame top of the head. This was the indigenous people from the Americas. All right, the way they wrote it, they made it into a mantis-like creature. That's the same exact thing. They got a flame coming out of it because that's where they saw the dome opening. They saw the fire, and it opened up, and they saw the two splitting, and they didn't turn into a menorah. They saw it as a mantis because that's what they knew. Okay, and later got turned into the Baphomet by creative beings that's been following the way. It's in their bloodline to use these secrets and mysteries to control the world. But we're at the precipice. We're at the very end of it. This is it. They know it because of the sun cycle. It's all about the sun cycle. Here we are again, the all-seeing eye. Okay? This is in ancient America, right here. This comes from America. The Americas, or more Inca, Tamara, whatever you want to call it. Well, in Kemet or Tamara, you see the same exact thing right here. They just holding up the red because it's red. It's plasma. That's what it looks like when it's gone from the blue sky to the red sky, which is known as the golden age. They're holding it up. Okay, and then with this Jedi pillar, that's to them. See the rings, the 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, it turned to other cultures. See the spiral right here. To other cultures, it became Atlantis. Okay, and then they tried to reconstruct everything that they saw. That's where the technology came from, and try to line it up with Orion and this and that. Okay, now that's a whole nother teaching. Like I said, I'm doing this on the fly. This is what other people saw. Okay, this is what other people saw during this event, and as we can see, this is what it all turned. Look across the world: Amazon, Gardenia, Patagonia, Dogon tribe, Colombia, Machu Picchu, Andino, Mendico. It's all the same sign. The hay. Yod Hey Vav Hey. The hand of God reached down, opened up the dome, and then this is what you saw, a squatter man trying to hold. You got to realize these people didn't know what was going on. Is this thing holding up the dome from squashing us? What's going on? It's a cleansing event is what it is. Okay? Light comes right now through the sun cycle. There's what's called an ultrasonic battery inside of the earth, in under what we call Mount Meru. This is the story of the Archangel Michael taking the sword out and slaying the dragon, and this and that. You want to see the dragon? You want to see the dragon? Well, here comes your dragons, all right here. Here's your dragons. This is your dragon. The dragon's coming. It's going to slay the dragon. Here it comes, the dragon. Yep. There's your dragon. The dragon that everybody's scared of, and it's going to be some big war and this and that. No, it's a plasmic event. There's your dragon right there. There's your dragon. Okay? Dragons. But when you were in one spot back then, you thought you was the only one seeing it, so you wouldn't say dragons, you would say dragon. That's the dragon. The dragon is here. Okay? Depending on which end of the spectrum is, you would call this the Most High Dragon. Or guess what? Guess what it's been turned to on the by the New Age? The periodic table, which is the one, which is hydrogen, the high dragon, the one. The high dragon is the one event. What's under that? Helium. Elion. Elion. That's Saturn. That's the one trying to be like the Most High. This thing we call the dragon is outside of here. Okay? They done morphed it into this Reed Legion thing that you can't even... It's like a big ball of yarn. You'll spend your entire carnation trying to figure that rubbish out. Live your life and come across teachers similar to myself that'll give it to you straight to the point. If it doesn't resonate, go do 30 years of work. Go do 30 years, 30 plus years of work. Dedicate yourself, meditate, get yourself in alignment. Do fast for as long as you can fast, weeks of fasting. And then maybe, you'll have something, and we'll all come listen to you. Myself included. But until that date, this the truth right here. This is what you're going to get. I've been sent for it. Here's your dragons all coming. This all comes from the black sun. Okay, no matter what they tell. Oh, it's from the solar flare. First of all, there is no sun to make no solar flare. For one, that's not even a realistic thing. The sun is a focal point of where the black sun supersonic vibration meets the light of the plasma coming through, that comes down as a V in two different directions, as the square on top of the Masonic compass, from Polaris, Plasma. Okay, the original Hebrew word for Earth was Eris. So Polaris was where Eris or Earth is getting its real light from. Plasma is matter. It cannot pass through matter. Only the light that emits from the plasma can pass through the matter, and it holds information. That's why many are going crazy right now, losing their minds, because they can't take all the information flooding in. It's making them go cuckoo. It's making them go crazy. It's making them go crazy. What's that? That's your dragon. Here's your dragons, all right here. Look, it's indisputable. These are your dragons, okay? And all of this and that and eclipses. You guys and our ancestors and generations before us have spookified this thing so much, and even the ones that say that they're not spookifying it are still spookifying it. The very ones that say that they're not spookifying it are still spookifying. Some of them are even spookifying it even more than what it was done previously. So teachers, ask yourself out there, before you teach, are you adding your own spookiness and spookification into it? Because this is all celestial cyclical events. Okay? The people that you call prophets, the very word for Hebrew from prophet that is nabi, that they changed, right? It comes from the nadis or the nabis that are on you, called energy points. You have 144 of them. They're many seals, or many like chapters. Look at your 7 seals or your 7 chakras as 7 books. Well, your nadis or your nabis are 144 chapters within them books. So when you open one book, all of the chapters that are in that book get opened simultaneously. Now, when you reach the top, which is the crown, which the young man that I opened this video with was showing with the crown of fire, that's when you have that crown that is above you. That's the narrow path. That's when you get times 1,000. That's 144 nodes, nadis, whatever pronunciation, whatever region you were in. That's when that is times 1,000. You have now reached the 144,000 genome, which those that reach that will have an experience down here in the earthly realm for 1,000 years. It's going to look much different than this. And then they have the option to go into the cosmic realm, places that, just like Christ said, there's no point in even getting into that when you're still here. Just be. It's no point, why? Why bring more confusion upon yourself when you're still here and you don't even fully understand the earthly realm? So just be. Stop worrying about everything. But yeah, all of the names of God and stuff like that, it all came from here. And I believe I got a video breaking it down, showing you how they made it. You know how they always got the bird, the dove on the head? That's the Son of Man, and the dove that's because that's what they saw. It looks like that, depending on where you're at. There goes the astronaut figure with the helmet, okay? The Olmecs, Toltecs, and all that. They saw people with, helmets and stuff. And then that went into other things. And now I'm not saying technology didn't exist and people wasn't doing this and doing that. That's not what I'm saying, because there's a whole class of beings that run underground every time these events come, and they take their technology with them. So yeah, of course, there's all that technology stuff is real. I'm talking about the name of God. There goes the turtle that is linked to my personal tribe, okay, as you can see. And the turtle shell has the entire lunar calendar on it, okay, the 13 and the 28 all within it. That's another story. But I mean, look, every single place on earth. Some place called a snake. Then you got the owl symbology, but in the Bible it's two witnesses. You see, it's in the eye of the beholder. And then the drawings got more and more elaborate. And then, like I said earlier, if you had everything in the world and this event came, you would call this thing the devil. It got a pitchfork. It come and it destroyed your whole world. That evil thing came with the red sky. Now ain't no sun disk, because they worship the sun, they worship Saturn, they worship all the heavenly bodies. When the new heaven, new earth come, there ain't none of that in the sky. There's still stars, and I have not seen any indication that there will not be a moon. It's just that the moon will always be full, and it will always be in the same exact place at the top of magnetic north. And that's because everything is in harmony as it should be. And it's going to be instant manifestation, because everything is going to be level. All right, even as heaven. Eve, the mother of all living things, the great mother will be back in balance. She will be even. She will be even again, meaning her balance will be restored. The feminine, the 9 is completion. It can be completion, you eternal damnation, or it can be completion of your soul down here getting purged. Okay? Becoming the reflection, the silver, the gold, until the origin of eternal life and light can see its reflection in you. That's what this is all about. That's what the ages was all about. That's why this demiurgic being and these Elohim and Anunnaki, whatever you want to call them, were even allowed to do this simulation. It's not about them like they've hijacked something. It's like a child in your home and they're building tents and things, and you've allowed them to be in your house and make tents and things and run around and make a big old mess, because you know as soon as you get up off that couch, what you say goes and everything is going to be restored. That's pretty much similar to what we're living in right now. You can think it's a simulation. You can think it's whatever you want. You can break down all these symbols. We can go into the past, because the past is the future. This is the future. This is coming again. This is what we're right up on. And everybody, it's going to be all similar tales that go on to the people that remain in the earthly realm. Now, if you're a old soul that's here getting this type of message, I highly doubt that you're coming back to purgatory, because if you are, then you're doing something completely wrong. That means you will have to reincarnate here and go through this same cycle all over again, and you can't even fathom what you've been through, because it's been taken from your light code purposefully. That's another thing. Yeah, the enemy, they make sure they try to take everything, like the bright lights at the hospital, everything they inject into you, and this and that. But it's all by design. It's all by design. So this right here, turn back, sun disk returns. All right, so after the purplish sky, it's purple to reddish sky. There's no sun disk in the sky after this event. No night. The sky emanates the vitamins and energy of the light, all the positive things that create life, like for the plants. That's why all plants and all fauna and everything is going to get so much bigger, including man. Man is going to go back to being bigger. That's another reason they're trying to hand out all the poison to keep you small. If you haven't noticed, the sizes in the stores have extremely gotten smaller. They're not the same size. Shoe sizes aren't the same no more. The sizes of food and portions in the grocery store aren't that big no more. Because the human being itself is getting smaller and smaller. Naturally, yeah, because we're at the end. But now we're so far close to, we're on the cusp of the Aquarian energy being full blown in, and no more Piscean energy being here, meaning that people are going to start getting bigger again, and they don't want that. And it's animals too. Animals are going to start getting bigger again. But all these people about to run underground anyway. They don't really care. They care, but they don't. They don't want to come up in 1,000 years and got, dinosaurs back running around, big lizards, because that's all it was. It was lizards that had the perfect environment, everything. Alligators grow to like 90 feet. But the thing is, we had no smoke with them. We were in, when the world is in perfect harmony, even the beings on that world are in perfect harmony. Don't matter what they look like. Don't matter how sharp their teeth are, what they look like, what creeps you out. That doesn't matter. They all was made for a divine purpose. They're made into this realm. Leave them alone, they'll leave you alone. And there's some that are called to have connections with them, with the animals. It's spirit. All right? If that's not you, don't worry about it. But it's not no fear. You don't fear them. So, after about 1,000 years or so, the emergence of a disk will return in the sky, a red disk. This is what they call Saturn. This is when the beings who go underground start getting hyped. They start getting hyped. But red is the lowest wave, so this still is an extended wave, which means the days are long, so they still have to wait, because we have very extended life during that time, 1,000-year lifetimes. Naturally, without the technology. See, they need technology. They need it. Why you think they was always carrying around handbags, in a sense like a diabetic carrying around their shots of insulin? They had to make sure. All them masks and things you seen, Tahuti wearing and all these lion heads and stuff, they was either telling you an allegorical story, or they was actually wearing like masks, like oxygen masks. Because when you live underground, and then you pop back up and come up and try to act like you're God, you can't show no signs of weakness. And either they was under there lifting weights, these Anuna going in, bored with their time lifting weights, or they simply just use the technology to take out a little piece of hormone, a little piece of DNA, and place it right back in it. Voila, you got muscles on your body frame that you never got to work out for, never had to do nothing for. It's all technology. Okay, that's why if you look just a couple 100 miles over, how come you don't see any muscle-bound Egyptians? How come all the Sumerians got muscle-bound God Elohims, but all the Egyptians got skinny, even pot-belly, this and that? Why is that? Because the people in Egypt were actually the seeds of the mother, who were hijacked with the technology of the bearded ones, who came up from another place. That time they came up from under the sea. They lived under the ocean. That's why the very first ones that came up was called Dagon, Dogon, the dragon from underneath, this and that. Ea, the Enki, and this and that. By the Dogon tribe, the Nomos, okay, the Nagas, the serpent people, this, that, the amphibians, the two frog spirits that can come out of water and live on land. Okay, it's the amphibious spirit, the marine kingdom and the land kingdom. They have the ability to move on both. All right, and what they're trying to do is get the ability to move in between the veil worlds. Okay, that's their two becoming one, where they separate the veil, where they can just, there ain't no portals, there ain't no this, there ain't no that, it's just all one. And they're gonna keep the people that are like, hey, what the heck is going on? This is some crazy mess. They're gonna keep about 80% of the population so dumbed down. They're gonna keep this exact simulation going just like this, but it's gonna be what you call the metaverse. It's gonna be people walking around literally in a game, but they're gonna be next to you driving and everything. They're gonna be in and of the world, part of it. They're gonna become one with the spirit of artificial sentient technology, which is not gonna be them sitting at their house like Ready Player One, hooked up to a game in the living room. They're gonna be out here amongst you, walking right by you. And you're either going to have one choice, try to blend in and try to survive and this and that. Or you can take heed to the words coming out of my mouth right now. And you can work on yourself and trust and believe that there's an origin of eternal light and life that is guiding you with what we call the Great Spirit, that it beams down here like the finest laser beam. Water is light. Water can cut through steel, so water is actually laser as well. Laser is water. So water is being, and we're in water. It's all water. Therefore, in water, it's been proven, can be programmed. Therefore, you're receiving programmed water in your breath, all around you. That's what the download, that's what it all is, okay? This black sun that's in the earth, the seed of the mother is a supersonic battery, basically. It's been charging up through this sun cycle. So what's going to happen is it's already overflown with the aurora borealis. That's showing when the sun just had the biggest solar flare ever, which is, it's not a flare, it's energy that's exploding out of the ether from the planet. It's basically saying, hey, we almost ready. You ready? And when you see that much what we call aurora borealis, that's showing that the supersonic battery, aka black sun within the earth, has a protective barrier. That's when the two energies meet, and it's letting you know that it's all around. It's all around. So the battery is charged. We still got a little bit of ways to go. The sun's going to turn blue. That's the highest. That's the highest it can go without deteriorating upon itself. Once it reaches violet, violet collapses upon itself. Okay, violet literally has so much. That's why blue holds the most information, because blue can hold it and contain it without collapsing upon itself. Violet will collapse upon itself and go back into the darkness. Okay, that's a whole nother teaching. So this blue sun is gonna basically try to take out or overload the black battery that is in this realm and try to explode it. So it is the only God. It's the jealous God. It's the only place you can get energy from now on, is that. External, the sun worshippers, this and that. That's pretty much what it's about. But this is science. It's hard to explain because it's science, mysticism. It's adept. It's mystic. It's mystic. It's the esoterics that's been hidden to you by all the religions. But it's the seventh seal, sixth seal, seventh seals, and that amalgamation of the supersonic black seed, black sun battery that's been charging up this whole time, that's going to emit a ray. Once the sun spirals, once the sun does not come back up at the winter solstice, the 23rd, that's Saturn. That's why they worship Saturnalia, because the reason they worship Saturnalia at the winter solstice, because they know when the sun rises 1 degree after the third day, This was before Christ and all that. They knew they had one more year, and they knew that their time was not here yet, that the apocalypse was not coming. That's why they celebrated. That's what Saturnalia was. They knew that they still had time left. But if the sun does not come back up 1 degree on that third day, that means it's heading for the North Pole, the magnetic North Pole, in a spiral form. So it's not going to happen overnight. It could happen within 7 days. But as it says, no man knows the day nor the hour. So you're going to know the season if you know these things that I'm teaching you right now. That's what's going to happen. And it's going to slowly make its way in a spiral to the North Pole. That's called the abomination of desolation. When you see the thing sitting and proclaiming itself as God, that sitting in the spot it should not be, the sun should never be at the North Pole. That's the abomination of desolation. But the key is these mad scientist geniuses that are inbred to have only left brain genius 1,000 IQs in 1,000, they use this opportunity to put prophecy on top of prophecy on top of prophecy. But it's none of it's prophecy. It's cyclical events. What they did was put a prophecy on top of a cyclical event, and they're preparing it to make it all go together like theater. So it looks like, the third temple of Solomon is being built. Oh, the Antichrist is here, going to rule for 7 years and 3.5. For one, the years was days. They're not talking about 7 years. The real event is 7 days, and 3.5 is when the sun is going to actually be there and take place. The 7 days is what's called Hell Week, where you're going to feel the effects bad, and you're going to need, I'm going to have to do a whole teaching on that of how to survive that event. And if it's not meant for you, you should still know these things to pass on to you. Those that are still going to be here for either the 1,000 reign, and they're not going to meet death. They're going to just transfer over into the new world, the new heaven, new earth, and they're automatically going to be on that A tone in their mind, the atonement. Or some of us are going to have to meet death and be born again into that 1,000-year reign of heaven on earth. But there's even something after that called the 8th day, which it has to do with Christ, and it has to do with the third spirit, which is called paradise. Okay, so it's a lot to this. I try to keep it, without overwhelming you guys, but I hope that was, enough to bring up your, bring up your knowledge a little bit. As you can see, water's above. There's the crater we live in the bowl. Even they know it, Mount Meru. That's the mountain right there where the black sun is under. Every planet is shaped like a bowl. It's all on the same plane, and it all has an energy signature. That's where all the water and land is, in that bowl. Okay? How did they know that? How do they all know that? Okay? Ancient drawing of the event. Look, the sun, the sword being pulled out. Okay? Here we go. Disney definitely knows. There's the owl up top. Then we have the dome. We got the boy in the red. Red man is Adam or Adama race. It's always a long leg and a short leg, because that's the apep. It's because that's why the reign of Christ is only 1,000 years. It's because that's the small loop. That's because our realm is out of balance. The axis. They tell you in lies but truths, like the axis is 23.5 degrees off. In outer space, floating like a ball. Well, the axis is off, but it's an energetic axis. It's the toroid field. That's why they always show one with the long leg and short leg, just like Mithras killing the bull. Do I got it? Right here. You see Mithras? The short leg always subdues the horned beast, because the short leg is what we're coming into. That's the 1,000-year reign. The golden age. That's the short leg subduing the beast nature within inside of you. Within inside of the world. That's why it says the lion will eat hay. Okay? That's the short leg of the apep. What's the apep? Look, that's the name of Yahweh right there. That's all comes the squatter man, tree of life. That's the tree of life. And this is the hand of God / two trees. One tree's falling, one's up. Tree of knowledge, tree of life, and then the two squatter mans. Okay? So what's the Apep? Let me see. The Apep is also known as the Analemma. Okay? In Egypt, it was called the Apep. It's the natural, it's the only real movement that happens here. It's the tide of energy. This right here, that's the moon Apep. You see how it's really small at the top, that real small little circle? That's the short leg. The long leg is the rest of the ages. That's the purgatory. That's the reincarnation cycle. The long leg. See the short? That's the 1,000-year reign of Christ. See the intersection? And then Satan loose for the dark ages, going away from the light, going down, and then when it comes back on your way back up, that's the way back to enlightenment. Okay, let me get my pen out so I can show you where we're at. Let's see real quick. We are right around here. Okay, this is what you call the dark ages, coming away from the lights, the true light, coming down here. Here's the U-turn, and on your way back up, Capricorn, climbing the mountain, the goat. Okay, this is all the ages. All the ages is in there, and you incarnate once in each age, so you can, so we can see what your soul is going to do with that particular energy that is being broadcasted over mankind. Not man or as an individual, because as a man, as an individual, you don't live by astrology. You observe everything, including astronomy, but you are the God man. So you're making your way back up. We are right here, about to cross this path. But to get to here has to be destruction first. Okay, the first become the last, and then the sun disk. Once the sun disk comes back in the sky, see, we're gonna go up this way, come back around, and then right around here, a sun disk is gonna appear in the sky one day. It's gonna be red, and that's when all the people from underground, and this is, see right here, red, orange, yellow, white, blue, and then the black. That's the one. That's the seventh seal in the Bible. Okay, we're at the white blue. If you read mainstream media, they'll tell you that the white sun is now emitting blue rays. And the thing about this is slow, because red light goes like this, long ways. Then you get to the orange, it's a little bit like that. Then you get to the yellow, it's like that. And then you get to the white, faster. And now when you get to the white with the blue, micrometer waves. Okay, and then eventually you get to, what I said earlier, when it goes to the North Pole. And that's pretty much what happens. So that's the Apep. And where was I? Yeah, and the sun worship is basically, that's Moses, and he had an elongated skull because he was so intertwined with the 369 Saturnic Atlantean energy. Sun worship, because the sun is the mixture of all the archonic energy. So if we look at the archon tree of life right here, in 1 second. Above this is what they call Ein Sof, which is the actual, what I call the origin of eternal life and light. Then they got Sophia, who is not the great mother. She's one of the great mothers, but not the great mother. Then you got Chakma. Just to give a disclaimer, this is all false. This is their way of explaining the parasitic entity. And you see, it's all mirrors. It's all mirrors back and forth. It's all tricks. That's what it is. So here we have Saturn right here with the mirror directly across from the moon. Mercury and Venus, it all makes the IXXI 911. Jupiter, which is about luck, lucky Lucifer and this and that. Mars, It's about war and sacrifice and the ram and this and that. Mercury is about knowledge, which could be natural, and it could be tech knowledge, which is unnatural. Venus is about love or lust. And then Malkuth is you in your present state of mind on the plane of inertia that we call the 3D or 4D plane. But that's not what I was looking for. Matter of fact, it was. You see the sun in the middle, right? See this? The sun is in the middle. That's the eternity, right? They love the sun disk because they worship it, because the sun is an amalgamation of every single energy. Do you see? Mars, Jupiter, Venus, Mercury, Saturn, all of it meets at the sun. And that is what Moses, aka Akhenaten, realized. See, he got his cups out with the sun disk. He's realizing that you can't go wrong with worshiping the sun disk, because it's an amalgamation of all the energies. So that was his new religion, that this is the one true God. That's telemarketing. You guys can call them back if you want. This was his idea of it, okay? And this right here is the middle part where it's like out of whack, the beginning of the Baphomet, complete distortion of our energy. This is what it looks like when it's out of whack, because when it's all moving, it's supposed to be a star. All right, Allah, arm, leg, arm, head, which was turned into a god, which is you. Allah is you. It's not nothing else. It's you. Okay? Arm, leg, arm, head. The very first Adam. Why do you think they asked Adam to name everything? Because they didn't even know the names. They only know how to take what is around there. They can't create nothing. They being the beings, the archons, Elohim, this and that. That's why I said don't use the word creator. Creator is somebody who takes the Play-Doh that's already there and then makes something out of it. They didn't create the Play-Doh. Okay? They're not the origin of all of that. They created something out of what already existed. Okay? That's pretty much why I stopped using the word creator. That's what's happening now. It's distorted. It's been distorted for a while, and predominantly from the subduing of the feminine energy. Okay? The feminine energy is the completion. It's the 90% that you're not accessing. The junk DNA, the 90% of your brain that you're accessing, guess what the 10% of the brain you are accessing? Your left brain, your masculine brain that wants to subdue the world. You're accessing 90% of your brain. 10% of your brain, but you're not accessing the 90. What's the 90? It's the X chromosome, the other X. Why do you think every man has an X chromosome as well? So you can still access it. So even you being a man that's got a retarded Y chromosome, missing a whole strand of an X, can't even stand up unless you post it in some dirt real hard or stand it upside down. The X gonna stand up fine. No matter what angle. It can fall over, topple over, flip it, roll it. The X gonna stand up. Okay? So even a man has access to this. And that's what this is all about. That's what this time is all about. I think that might be it for this lesson. On the go, in my car, in my vehicle, my motor vehicle. But yeah, the further we go down the time, there's an event at the end of every age that's not as severe, but it's enough to just wipe out, to set them back just enough. If they're getting a little too carried away, there's a smaller event at the end of each age. But right now, we're coming to the U-turn, which is one of the bigger events. It's all aligned up to where we're coming up to one of the 12,000 year ones, which is severe. There's the two most severe are the two 12,000 year points. All right, fire, water. The last one, they got your times things all messed up. The real one is what happened on a bigger Earth, where all these so-called planets in your solar system exist. The whole X-ray map is on the moon. The positive map is in the waters above. It's the same map. The sky is bigger. It's showing you the positive, the light reflection of down here. The moon is a condensed version of the X-ray showing you the negative. That's why you don't see water and trees and this and that on the moon. When you look in the X-ray of yourself, do you see water and this and that and flowing and moving in your veins and everything? No, you don't. It's an X-ray. Same thing as the moon. That's why the moon, the firmaments on the moon look like craters, look like it's going in. All right, when actually it's a firmament. It's they got firmaments too, but it's way more than one firmament here. All right, the one that's messing up, well, actually is being used as protection for us, is the ice firmament. All right, that's why it says in the Revelation that 80-pound hailstones is going to fall. Where is that coming from? Weatherman tell you, oh, it's being made by this and condensation. They give you some whole spiel. No, it's coming from the ice firmament breaking. There's an ice firmament, and then there's a firmament of energy, and then there's many different atmospheres that have to do with temperature: cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, and it's all about changing the light, which is water, to different densities. That's what it is. Okay. But that's more of a science. That's more of a science thing that I would get into maybe some other time. But yeah, this is all symbology about. They rub it in your face, okay? And here's the face of Yahweh. If you don't believe me, this is verifiable. The oldest face. Somebody said it's Ra. No, it's not Ra. Ra was always the sun. Ra actually was the sun at noon. That's how it all started. Then they turned that into a god as well. Same way that people have turned Yahweh into a god. When it was just a priesthood, they came together and, Moses took a bunch of people out of there. It wasn't just from the same bloodline. He took the Hyksos, he took Egyptians, he took Nubians, he took everybody out of there. Whoever wanted to listen to him and start their own new thing. But the God of the cosmos couldn't create a land specially running with milk and honey for them. He had to give them land that was already being used by the Canaanites, somebody that he favored after he murdered his own brother, sent him out and allowed him to prosper. Okay? See, he don't care. These beings don't care. Evil, disagreeable energy does not care about you, does not care about anything except itself. And the elites are going to learn that too. But a lot of them don't care. They don't even care. They care about this world and what they can get out of this world. And unfortunately, they've traded one night to do whatever their heart desires for an eternity of doing the will of the eternal origin of life and light. That's the epitome of stupidity, the epitome. All right, this is Chief Ironbush. I love you guys. I hope this helps someone. There's Yahweh. Somebody said that's right. Well, it says Yahweh right there in the coin. He's in a wheelchair. This man ain't riding no cherubim. He's riding a wheelchair. There goes the bird that I showed you that came from the actual event where people saw that's carved in caves and things. See? They took all that and turned it into religion to control the people. There's Moses horns and all that. It's just, it's all there if you really want to know, man. It's all there. This stuff right here, when they were releasing this stuff, it all came out at the same exact time. My wife, my children, everybody said, "Oh, Drake just responded." I said, "Everybody, come here. Put your phones down. You're not watching that right now. Especially right when they just released it. You know how many people are gonna be watching it? That's a ritual. Put your phones down. You're not watching that right now. Now later on, if you know you got free will. Later on, you go watch it or whatever. That's on you. But right now, when they want you to, and they're playing, they're assuming that you're gonna take part in the ritual. That's when they do their blood rituals. They give it way more power. Way more power. These holy days that you think got to do with Hebrew holy days and listen, man. The true origin of eternal life and light ain't got no holy day because there ain't no days. There ain't no time. There ain't no night. That's why it's giving you a piece of that in the 1,000-year reign, the millennial reign of Christ, which ain't gonna be no night. There ain't no sun in the sky, so you can know if it's day or night. And you talking about a holy day. It's the God of this world. Wake up. You taking part and you giving your energy to what they are doing with blood. It always has to do with blood from the very beginning. Because blood is the conduit between dimensions. Chief Ironbush, I love you all. Till the next time.